Hello, everyone. Um, Welcome to our webinar. We're just going to give it a few minutes if there's any late arrivals, and then we start. All right, I think we're good to go. So, just for your information, we're doing this through YouTube this time. There's a chat window on the right. There is a certain lag that comes from the while we stream this to where you when you see it. So I might not respond directly to the questions you might have, but we also have one of our developers participating in this demo. So he'll be looking at the chat window and he can answer any questions you might have there sooner than I can. But anyway, today we'll so welcome to the webinar. Today we'll show you this new feature that we're rolling out that allows you to create group sessions in virtual reality with Viar360. I'm doing the presentation, so that's me, Viar, and on the chat is Shura, who's our lead Unity developer. I need to say that this was a personal project from Jura. He developed a lot of this, a lot of the code. It was his brainchild as well, and we've been really trying to do our best to get this out as soon as we can because of the situation, that the world has found itself in. And yeah, uh, we've been working as hard as we can to get this to make this available to everyone, right? Okay, so what we'll do now is we're gonna give you a brief feature overview, then we're gonna do a demo, and then after that, we're gonna have some time for questions and answers. If you have any questions along the way, just write them in the comment box and we'll try to address them ASAP. All right, so the new feature that we're rolling out is hosting group training sessions in VR with Viar360, right? So this feature basically allows you to do kind of a multiplayer playback, right? That allows you to basically synchronize viewing for multiple people, right? So one person is the host, and then others are basically viewers who can join the host in his session, right? Um, this is available only for Oculus Go and Oculus Quest devices. This is what we focused on first. Um, Host controls all the interactions. So host initiates the session, and then the viewers basically just view what the host shows them. They do have voice communication, so people are able to talk to each other, right? We are rolling this out as a beta feature, which means that there's going to be continuous improvement. There's also going to be a lot of feedback that we're going to get from you guys while you use it. But we wanted to push it out as soon as we can because, you know, a lot of our users will find this beneficial in this situation where you have to suddenly go fully remote. And we wanted to basically kind of help you a little bit with that, right? Um, all right. So how does this actually work, right? So if you're familiar with our virtual reality VR app, right, that you basically get for, let's say, Oculus or Quest, right? Once you log in, right, and you see all the content that's assigned to you, right, you can download that content to your device, right? So let's say we're now in the Oculus Go app. We're seeing which story we want to download. We download it, and typically after that, you would only have the option to play it, right? So in this new case, what we basically added is two options there. One is for hosting, one is for joining, right? So the host can basically spin up a room, right, a session, and then everybody else who wants to join that session just goes on join, and then you can see all the people that basically started a hosting session, right? What's very important here is that stories need to be downloaded on both sides. So viewers and the hosts, right? They both need to download the story first before they're able to either host it or join one, right? Um, Once you're in, you will see. So you're looking from the same perspective, right? Everybody's in the central position. But what we created is this small dots that you can see on the canvas, right? So you can see, what somebody's seeing. You can see other people around. You can talk to them. You can see if everybody's understanding what you're trying to show, right? The host's dot or your dot, right, is always green, and the viewer's dot is blue, right? We will be improving this a little bit in the future by adding, initials or something to identify people, because now, as you're going to see in the demo, right, there is a lot of, you see just a lot of dots, really a lot of dots when you're trying to show somebody something. But it's a feature that we're still developing and improving all the time, right? And yeah, I already mentioned that you're connected through voice, so you can talk to each other. You can ask the host, "Hey, can you show me more about this?" or "Can you tell me more about that?" And the same thing, the host can communicate with the viewers and tell them more about specific items, right? All right. So what's also important is that the host is the one that completely controls the whole um, process, right? So the host is the one that has the permission to open up stuff, to click on items, right? And when you click on something, right, like this info hotspot here, when you click on it, it opens up for everybody, right? So at that point, everybody's able to read it, everybody's able to see it, right? If the host closes it, it of course closes it as well on the other side, right? For the viewer. So, the viewers are there more in a viewing function. They're not able to just drift around, go through scene to scene, right? The host is the one that controls everything. At the end, you also get this session report. This is not strictly just for group sessions. You get this also if you're just doing a normal session on one-on-one, but it's something that we recently added, and I thought it would be interesting to add it inside here as well. So you can kind of see how long you were in the session, how many scenes you visited, and how many hotspots you interacted with. All right, so now it's time for the demo. And maybe the first thing that I want to show you is the actual how this looked on the app side, right? So we created this in, like, let's say a very short onboarding officer, like for, let's say, two new employees that you want to explain them what they can what they can do in the office, what options they have, uh, just a general onboarding tour, right? So for that, we basically created a new demo, a new example here, right? It's pretty easy. It's pretty straightforward. It has a lobby, it has one open space, an entertainment area and kitchen, right? And each of these then have additional information inside. So you have basically some text, some informational pop-ups, a video, and so on, right? So this is all the stuff that we kind of added here. So anybody who wants to do this on their own, they can also go through the session individually, right? Then once this was published, right, it was assigned. We assigned it to currently just 4 users here, right? So all these users, once they downloaded the application, right, they were able to see this, download the application and log in, of course. They were able to see this content be available to them, right, and download it and so on, right? So to download the apps, if you're not familiar with that part yet, you just go here under download apps, and you can download Android, iOS, Oculus Go, Quest, and Vive Focus Plus. This feature of group hosting session is only available for Oculus Go and Oculus Quest, as I mentioned before. We will be eventually expanding that, but for now we want to keep it within one ecosystem, right? So yeah, that was the side of the backend, right? Now we can quickly go to the actual demo, right? And here I will just open this video we made, and I'll play this. All right, today we're gonna do an office tour for our new colleagues. So we're gonna host a group session in virtual reality because right now everybody's working remote. So we're gonna open our story. I already downloaded it. I have a couple of options here, either to host or to join. I want to host it, which means that I'm in control, so I'll click on host. All right, so this is the lobby. We're gonna wait here a little bit for our colleagues to join, new colleagues. Okay, we have one. Hello.
Hello.
All right.
Hello.
All right.
Hello.
Both of them are here. So welcome to this VR session. I'm going to show you around. We're going to take a look at our office space. I'll tell you what is what, so when you can come to the office, you already know what to do. All right, so the green dot here is mine. I see you as blue dots, and feel free to look around.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. So this is our lovely office. What you can see here is basically we have it split into parts. The actual tables are here in the back. This is where you can actually, do your work. Otherwise, so this side we have the kitchen, and on the other side here we have the entertainment area, right? So this is where you can relax, play some games, eat something, and so on, right? Regarding the office space, there's some instructions here. You can read more about it if you're wondering how we work. Usually there are a few monitors always available. The places are not 100% set, so you just pick the chair that's free, right? Are there any questions right now at this point?
Yes, I have one. At what time is the office open? Because sometimes I enjoy more late hours, working at late hours.
Yeah, the office is open all the time, so you can actually come also at nights or evenings. You just need to insert the security code at that point to turn off the alarm. Yeah.
That's perfect.
All
That's
right.
perfect. Thank you.
Any more questions?
Is there any
Yeah.
restroom? Like
the
toilets?
restrooms are here on the left, so you go through this door, and there's a male for women and for men on each side. What's also here is maybe I didn't point this out sooner, but this is the conference room. You can use this to do any calls, or if you need some quiet time. There are also 2 conference rooms on the other side here, which you don't see, but you can feel free to use those as well. We do use a Google Calendar to schedule, to book individual conference rooms. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great, thank you.
We also have a short video here. I'll just play it for you a little bit, and then you can watch it on your own. But this is about work etiquette.
How to practice proper work etiquette. 1. Shake hands with a firm grip, direct eye contact, and good posture. Be sure to stand up. It's
So
an
about
up.
this for now. You can go through this tour later on your own as well, and you can watch the whole video. It's kind of a guideline of how we like to work with each other when we're in the office. There's one important thing about the entertainment area here. You can use it whenever you want, but if you have a policy that you need to turn the volume to 0 from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. because a lot of your colleagues will be working at that time. Does that make sense?
Yes, of course.
Yes, of
All
course.
right. Let's go to the kitchen now. So I'll take you here. All right. So this is our lovely kitchen. There's a refrigerator here. Feel free to store your snacks, food, whatever. Just make sure that you label it. If it's not labeled, it gets thrown out on Fridays. We also have a coffee machine here. You can make everything from espressos to coffee lattes. If you're making coffee lattes, just make sure that you clean out the hose for the milk. Otherwise, it can go bad. If you're more of a tea person, you have a water heater here. And if you want to, warm up something, use the microwave. We don't have an oven, but I guess a microwave will have to do for now. We also have a smoothie mixer, so you can use this whenever you want. Just make sure you clean it after and clean it well, because some fruit can get stuck here. What's also important is that on Fridays on Fridays afternoon we have a smoothie snack, right? So we're gonna make for everybody here. Bring a lot of food and just mix stuff up. And then there's other stuff here in the drawers in the bottom. You can check that out. There are plates, forks, spoons, and so on. And then there's a dishwasher here. So whenever you use something, just put it in the dishwasher, and the cleaning lady is gonna turn it on in the afternoon. Any questions about the kitchen?
Great.
No, I was just wondering
if everybody was responsible for their own dishes, but yes, you answered that already. Yes, we need to put them in the
Let's go
dishwasher.
to the entertainment area. So we're gonna go see how you can relax. All right. So here you have a couple of desks. You can rearrange this if you think there's a better way to put them. But here you can kind of get, talk with other people, eat, wherever you want to do. That's not related to the office. There are 2 sofas here. Feel free to use them while you play any games on the PlayStation. PlayStation does have a company account, so there's already some games there. But feel free to log in with your account as well. So if you want to play something else. There's just one important thing here. Don't forget to charge the PlayStation controllers, because it might be a very unpleasant surprise for somebody else who wants to play the games if they're empty. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Yes, of course.
Okay. That's a short tour. You can go through this on your own later as well. Do you have any more questions, maybe?
No, that's pretty much.
Yeah, I think everything is clear.
Great. Okay. Then I'll end this session, and you guys can feel free to explore on your own. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Take care.
Okay,
Bye.
thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. And here's some statistics about this session. You can see how long it was, how many scenes we visit, how many hotspots were open, and so on. So you can get a bit of an input. All right. So that was the demo. We wanted to kind of we were preparing this this morning. You could hear the echo a little bit because we were trying to record exactly what you hear as a host, but at the same time, we were you get that echo from recording the screen and recording the voice of the host as well. So that's why there was a little bit of a misalignment, but I think it represents well on how the experience looks like, right? I do see there were some questions already there, so thank you, Juro, for answering most of them, I think. Um, Jeff, I see you asked if this is an extra cost. No, for now, all our customers get this for free. As we mentioned, it's something that we personally really wanted to roll out because of the situation in the world today. It was also an important project for Juro. I have to say here that he really, put in the effort, working 17-hour days for over the last week to just get this through the door as soon as possible. So yeah, to basically answer you again, it's for free for all our users. You can use it if you use either the Oculus Go or Oculus Quest application, right? Just make sure that you're in the version 2.30. Yeah, actually, I can show you the heat map. So let me just switch back to my web view here. So right, we had this one story here that was basically like a webinar demo, right? The office group tour, and we can then go and see the statistic on this one, but this one. We can go and see the statistic for this story. And here you can see a lot more details about the sessions, about the heat maps and stuff like that. So if you go here to the actual open space, you can see that there are some dots. These are not really representative because we made them while we were testing this example, but what you can see is interesting that most of the red spots are somewhere where there was something to interact with, right? So they kind of can show you exactly what people were looking at, right? So this is this gets generated from all the viewing sessions together, and the data from the apps actually gets sent to the web app as soon as the session is complete. And if you don't have an internet connection at that point, it's gonna basically get uploaded as soon as you're gonna have a connection. All right. I'm just checking the questions a little bit here. So yeah, you don't have to be in the same network. This is something that we were really, it was important for us to achieve it, that you don't really need the same Wi-Fi. You just need an internet connection and you're ready to go. And because we require you to download the content first, the actual connection doesn't need to be all that good, right? Because you're not actually streaming 360 video, right? We're not capturing a screen share and sending that over. We're actually basically just syncing the experiences on both ends, right? No, to answer Nicholas, you cannot give control to some other users. You would have to leave the session, and that user would need to start it as a host, right? So for now, if you're the host, you have total control. And then if you're the viewer later, you can only view, right? But you can communicate with voice. Yeah, we're not sure about the web part yet. I think right now our focus is to make this awesome on Oculus. That's the first step. Then awesome on all other platforms that we're trying to support. And then we're going to start to introduce it to the website, to the web version, because that one will be the most complex one. But yeah, we tried to prepare this demo. We tried to, this was a screen recording of the demo that what you see before. And when you're actually in it, it's really cool. It's really cool because it's suddenly, it's not a passive experience where you go through this, training course or something like, or try to explore it on your own. You're actually there with other people. You see them great. You hear them. You see what they're actually looking at, what they're doing. So it's a very interesting experience, right? It adds another level of immersiveness maybe not immersiveness, but interactivity, I guess. Is there any more questions, maybe? I know the jury is very speedy in answering them, but I like to sum it up anyway for anybody else here that might be looking in the stream. What I also want to add is that I know a lot of you will try this. It's also available for our trial users, right? So whoever starts the trial is going to get this feature in the trial as well. So if you just want to try it out, you can just basically, start the trial with us, download the application, create a simple story, assign it to yourself and somebody else, and then you can see how it actually looks like and works, right? And the only thing that we really ask from you at this point is to give us some really constructive feedback on how we can even improve this more, right? I think right now it's pretty solid. Like it's not a half-baked experience. It's pretty solid, but I know that by having a little bit of different point of views, you're going to bring even more great ideas to us on how we can improve this. Yeah, the Oculus Go application is available with Oculus keys. And for the Oculus Quest application, you have to use SideQuest or just siloed it manually. Currently, Oculus Store basically is not really tailored for applications like ours, right? So it's more for consumers. So that's why we kind of have to go down that approach for now. Bal, I know that you asked what is independent point of view. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. So you can view whatever you want to view, right? So me as the viewer, right, I can look at a totally different direction than the host. And that's why we have those dots that we basically visualize on the canvas. So you can see what people are looking at, right? So you could have trainees or viewers that might be looking somewhere totally else. You can see that somebody's looking in a totally different direction, right? Um, um, but when you're guiding some people around there, you're not forcing their point of view. You have to basically you have to tell them where to look, and they need to look there, right? So it's not forced point of view. We're going to be Robert asked if we can basically send some instructions on how to use this. We're going to be sharing this video afterwards, so you're going to get the recording to this webinar. You can use it to basically see how that demo went, right? And it's relatively straightforward. There are only two options. You can either be a host, or you can join, right? So once you have a host set up, you get basically a list of all the hosts that have an open session on that story at that point. And if you're the viewer, you can just select who you want to join, right? So we wanted to design the interface to be very simple, very, let's say, non-complex, right? So I think you're not going to struggle with it, but still, I will send out this video afterwards, so you're all going to have access to it, to review it, and to see how to use it on your own. Yeah. So Keith, you asked if I can show you this again. You're gonna get a recording to this webinar later on, but I can actually open the demo that we were using. And I'll go here. So once you have the actual story, right, and in my case here, I already downloaded it. I have two options here. I could either be a host or I could join, right? And when I basically clicked on host, right, it actually started a hosting session, right? And then I went straight into the story. So for somebody who's a viewer, at that point, they would see, okay, if they would click on join, they would see, okay, Yerne started a new session. I can join there, right? And then, you know, like these two viewers here, they basically joined, and then we basically continued from here. Yes, Jeff. Yeah, that's you are correct. So one thing that we do force is the transitions, right? So you as the host, right? If you decide to go from this scene number one to scene number two, the viewers go there with you, right? So you do when you're switching scenes, you are forcing people to switch scenes, yeah. So you do need to go like when you move around, they do need to go around with you, right? We decided on that because it makes sense because you cannot really, you know, have people running around in different scenes if you try to guide them through a session, right? So point of view is not forced, but the scene location is, right? So the host decides the scene location. All right. I think I have another one here. I'm not sure how this would relate to a digital twin, right? So what you like if you're scanning heritage sites with let's say a laser and you get a cloud point from it, if you can export it as a 360-degree media, right, either a video or an image, you can use that to build scenes in virtual reality in Viar360, right? So you can actually build out a story, right, from that. And then from that you can kind of create this guide sessions, right? So that's something that would that I could see relate, but it's not, you couldn't just throw in 3D models into Viar360 and things would work. I think that's a little bit more complex. Okay, Jeff, you this is something that maybe wasn't so obvious from the demo, but I can skip here to maybe that part. So I think in this part here, let me find it. Yeah, or maybe let's try this one here. So when I actually open up here this info hotspot, right, for the two viewers.
There's one important thing about the entertainment area here. You can.
When I open this up, it opened up for everybody, right? So basically, when I'd open up an info hotspot or when I do some interactions as the host, it opened up those interactions or those pop-ups for everybody else as well, right? So me as the host, well, I was able to basically click on stuff and everybody else saw the same thing, right? So that's why I mentioned in the beginning, you know, it's a very controlled um, hosted session, right? So you as the host basically decide on, you know, what's open, what's closed, what you're playing, which scene you are, right? You're not forcing point of views, right? But you are controlling, you know, what you're interacting with, right? If you imagine like if this would be like let's say an onboarding scenario for a factory, right? You don't want people to just click around randomly. Like when you're guiding them, you want to explicitly show them certain interactions, right? So that's why they're controlled. But what's the viewers still have their pointers, so they can still kind of point around and play with it. It's not they're not going to be able to trigger anything, but it does kind of, you know, it does kind of later on when they do this on their own, right? And they can still go through the session on their own and interact with it individually. They're already going to be familiar with the way everything works and interacts, right? So that's still there. All right, guys, is there Are there any more questions? Not exactly. So there are two types of Nicholas asked an interesting question. What are all those dots there? So every viewer or a host has two dots. One larger one that basically represents, where you're looking at, and one smaller one that kind of shows where you're pointing at, right? We found that very useful when you're trying to explain something, right? You're trying to circle something and say like, hey, take a look at this, right? So you're moving your controller, right? And you can see that dot moving really quickly, right? I'm not sure if I was doing anything here in the demo, but I maybe you can see it here where I'm trying to circle something.
Does that make sense?
Yes, of course.
Yes, of course.
But the point is like the larger dot is where you're looking at, the smaller dot is where you're pointing at. No, there's nothing special that you have to do. Like the only thing that I did want to that I wanted to show, what's important is that, let me just open this one back up. What's important that this story is assigned to those users, right? So here we had a session where in this session where we were basically showing this to Renata and Juro, right? So they had to be, this story needed to be assigned to them so they had access to it, right? If they wouldn't have access to it, then they wouldn't be able to view it on their end. Like, and then once they have access, they can download it and they can view it and join a session, right? But otherwise than that, there's nothing special that you need to do. It's the functionality is built into the VR apps, right? So yeah, it's already available. So the demo that we were showing you today, this was done on the what's out there right now. So the demo that we pre-recorded was on the version 2.30. That's the version that has this functionality. It's available if you open a trial account or if you have an account with us. It's already available there. You can get the keys for Oculus Go, or get the APK for sideloading it to an Oculus Quest, right? And you're going to be able to use that. So the version is 2.30. That's what's important to look for when you log into the app. All right. Any more questions? If not, then I really want to thank you for being with us today here. We were really excited to show you this, what we've been working on. Like, it was really a team achievement for basically rolling this out so fast. So we're really happy that it's available there, that you can use it, and we're really hoping that it might help somebody, in these difficult times. But yeah, play around with it. We'll be really happy if you send some feedback back our way, and we'll continue to work on this. Right, there are already certain things that we want to improve next week. So that will be rolled out as well. But if you can give us some great ideas on how we can make this even better, it will be even nicer. Juro, maybe you can answer these questions about maximum viewers. I think right now we set it up for up to 20 concurrent viewers, but that part can scale up, right? So for the beta version, we have it set up at 20 concurrent viewers, but we can scale it up later on to larger numbers as well. Okay, it's 10. All right. Thank you, guys. It was a pleasure. And all the best. Take care. Bye.